You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Howdy.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the fortnight of January the 11th to January 24th. It's not a format change. I had flu. And so...
But maybe it could be.
I missed... No.
We can make you getting the flu a regular feature.
Because technically we're watching the same amount of anime week to week, but we then have to remember it like 2 weeks later. It's like, wow.
Yes, and also I lost a chunk of the week, so I didn't manage to watch all of this either. But we begin with a couple of things I did watch, one of which I watched a long time ago, so fine details, maybe misremembered. Detective Conan, episode 1149. The Detective Boys and Two Leaders.
Okay, details you got to remember. Oh, this could be important. Nope.
No, I was right. This was an easy one for Dwayne to do. You had to follow the sausage stain. I was right.
Yeah,
very fucking simple.
And my grapefruit reacting with pharmaceuticals paid off as well.
Good old visibility.
They did at least comment that this 6-year-old girl seems to know an awful lot about pharmaceutical reactions when I brings up the fact that the grapefruit has a particular type of reaction. She's commented.
I mean, she could say a relative of mine takes medication and mentioned it to me. Because that's an important thing to fucking know. Like, don't take grapefruit if you're on some kind of meds.
Luckily, our friendly FBI agent covers for her. Basically does what he said he was going to do. It's like, hey, I'll just say it was my idea as you pass off your conclusions to yourself.
Conan wanted to tell you the detail that I, a grown adult man, had come up with, so nothing suspicious going on here. Because when the other detective was like, hey, wait a minute, Koguro's not here. Why is this kid telling me what to do? And he's like, I told him to say that, officer.
The bit we forgot from the previous part, though, which is important for the Uber plot, is when they went to look for video of the hotel evacuation, they found it all mysteriously scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you could maybe go like, oh, it's an ongoing investigation, so we're downplaying that in the media. It's like, no, like, scrubbed, like, taken fucking away. It's like,
Yeah, so clearly, whoever the mysterious man is, he wanted to see Mary Sarah as a child, also didn't want anybody else to see that.
Yeah, information he wanted to himself. The entire fucking hotel serial bomber thing was just a thing to catch a currently small child.
But yes, the plot of this is that the dead brother, who's the brother of the other guy, I think we got mixed up whose brother. Everybody apart from the murderer were tied up in this criminal gang, and she was getting revenge by murdering the guy who dragged her into it.
She was tied up because wasn't it her boyfriend or her ex or whatever?
Yes, but she wasn't part of the gang, whereas the other girl and the brother are.
Yeah, I think after it happened, like, basically she was kind of coerced into this. She has to work here, but not under the same conditions that the other girl has to work here.
Yeah, because that's the thing at the end is the other girl is going to turn evidence against the rest of the gang, and then the rest of the gang show up, and guess our FBI guy is going to have to take care of them, but half the gang run after the kids and the teacher, so the teacher puts them in a room. Oh, whoops-a-daisy, I've accidentally locked you in the room by destroying the handle with my elbow. And then mysteriously, all these 6 criminals have all somehow fallen over and are unconscious.
And so while our in disguise guy kind of comes around the corner, like, it is funny to me that everyone recognizes his style as Jeet Kune Do. It's like, I wouldn't know it looking at it the way they depict it.
The reason she does is because we have a flashback to her when she was younger, and she has clearly met this guy's dad.
Yeah.
And she's like, hang on, this guy reminds me of that guy.
So when he comes around the corner, realizing, wait a minute, I didn't beat all fucking 30 of those guys up. A few of them must have got around. I was like, oh no, the kids. And he comes around the corner, they're all kicked the shit out of, and she kind of meekly comes from around the corner. Whoa, I guess they had a falling out, must have fought amongst themselves or something, and all knocked each other out. Very convenient for us.
And Conan notices that her knuckles are covered in their blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice solvable mystery that we solved.
Yay.
Good going, junior detective team.
The next episode relies on a magician's trick that I'm not familiar with, so I'm just like, I'm shit out of luck. It's
No.
nearly as bad as a pun or a play on words for me. I'm just like, no, I'm not going to guess that one, lads.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's the male appraiser though who is.
I think it's the old woman because I think that would be too obvious. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, nobody comments on the fact that the male appraiser is using a weird tool to do his appraising and also covers the entire crevice where the crown's being held while he's doing the appraising, so no one else can see what he's doing.
He's definitely more Kaito Kid shaped as well, which is why I'm hoping it's the old lady, but
yeah, it feels like him.
Mm.
Well, before we get to that, we have a flash forward where Conan's pondering which of the Asuzas is Kaito Kid, and he's like, I could hit both of them with my football, but I'm not sure Asuza can take me.
His watch has one dart, and I was like, if I gotta take the shot, but I don't know which one's which, and then I could kick the other one with my football, but I could seriously injure her with the football, and I'm fine with doing that with a criminal, but an innocent sandwich shop worker, that doesn't feel good.
But yes, once again, Sunoko's grandfather has acquired some sort of jewel, and he's going to get it appraised. And Kaito
what
Kid's
business
saying,
is he into? I think it's something fucking shady. The way he's always like falling on these fucking treasures and shit.
His business seems to be security devices to prevent things being stolen by Kaito Kid, which fail every single time.
He must have a side business in publicly making like Kaito Kid concerts essentially, and all the fans show up. Like maybe he's charging tickets to this fucking place because he has the crown prominently displayed on a big screen outside the building, so everyone can cheer when Kaito Kid appears, steals it, and then everyone fucking leaves. It was like, I don't know how this is going to be solved. That's not my problem. I'm just here for the Kaito Kid.
There's a massive crowd. His granddaughter showed up to cheer Kid on as he steals her inheritance. Rand's come along as well. Souza and apparently Amuro is there as well because they've delivered some sandwiches. We hear Amuro's new voice in the opening, but we don't see him this episode. So maybe Conan's got him to disguise himself as somebody else somewhere in this story.
Yeah, because the thing is like, oh, he's already delivered the sandwiches. He's already gone home. I was like, that's kind of weird. And also, we know that two of you are eventually going to show up, despite the fact you're saying, I'm going home now. Oh, fuck. Yeah. What if Kaito Kid is one of them and Amuro's the other one?
Possibly. Susan's got a stain, which she says is ketchup, and Conan's like, I don't think that's ketchup. And later we get it established that it should be ketchup.
Yeah.
Because clearly Kaito Kid has booby-trapped some ketchup at some point in order to make somebody change their clothes to make it look like they are him.
In order to get two people to go to the bathroom and wash the ketchup off their clothes, where you could bonk them on the head and fucking disguise yourself as them, I presume.
Yeah, so essentially the granddad's great plan this time is he's built a tiny corridor full of wind that you have to crawl through if you're an adult.
All right, I understand the tiny corridor. I understand that adults have to crawl through this, which slows down going through it, and there's an automatic lock if you move the crown from its position after 3 seconds. I was like, I would have had that quicker, but that's just me. But it automatically locks, so you can't get across the room in like 3 seconds. What's the wind about? I don't understand the wind part.
Well, they explained that because a few days ago, the last time he stole something from the grandfather.
Oh, it's to disrupt the card throwing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is a rare acknowledgement of like how tightly knit all these events are in their lives. Because it's how it's referred to as happening recently. It's the previous theft. Even though it's probably
I was wondering
2 years.
How recent. Yeah, not that recent, but for Conan.
So that's why the wind's there. So it's purely based on how he got away in the previous one. I'm curious now if that's a recurring thing. If he constantly like accounts for the last trick that Kaito pulled on him. Anyway, Kaito Kid shows up and he makes the crowd disappear. And Conan's like, well, the alarm didn't go off, so the crowd's still clearly there. You've just made it disappear by using some sort of black cloth or black paper, and he sticks his arm in and goes, "Look, no, that's how magic people do magic. It's a magic trick."
Yeah.
Um,
And like you said, the two appraisers who had arrived late because they were both in the men's and the women's bathroom cleaning the ketchup stains off of their thing. Have sprayed the dual. I forget what kind of
tourmaline. It's a
tourmaline.
tourmaline.
It's a kind of gem that reacts electrically, and I assume that's part of the thing as well of it. What they're spraying it is making it react in a certain way, that kind of way. But yeah, they're both spraying it to determine its value of its authenticity as a big crown that her granddad has managed to acquire at some point.
Yep. And so they're like, well, nobody. The police say nobody came out of the corridor, so therefore Kaito Kid will still be in this room. The two appraisers make excuses not to have their faces pulled to see if they're wearing makeup.
The old lady says, "Stop pulling my fucking face. You did that when I came in." And the other guy's like, "I had a nose job recently, so don't pull on my nose. That would suck if that went wrong."
And the person who's arranged the display is the one who they first suspect because she's changed her clothes because of the ketchup stain. She says that the only way you could have hidden the crown is to have put it on your thigh. You stick your leg.
It's a tall crown, so the idea is like if you wore it on your thigh, you could wear it under your pants or something like that.
But you'd be able to feel it. So everyone searches each other, men and women split into two groups, and they can't find it. So they're like, well, the crown must be here, Kid must be here. So how are we going to solve this? There's a kind of exact point where Conan looks completely unimpressed with somebody's piece of deduction. Also, in the midst of all this, Rumcut turns up and delivers some sushi and asks suspicious questions about Conan's teacher.
It's just like, no, they got me the sandwich shop from the Poirot. They ordered sandwiches from there, and I was like, all right, that's a suspicious place to order sandwiches from because we know their involvement in all this fucking shit. But also, they ordered some sushi in celebration of catching Kaito Kid preemptively, and it's just like, also, I'm here. Hey, is your teacher extremely suspicious for any reason? And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, she was eyeballing me when I delivered sushi at the school the other day. I was like, and he's thinking about her bloody knuckles from the last episode and that kind of shit. He's like, no, she's a normal, clumsy teacher. I wouldn't worry about that. He's like,
They're like, do you want to come and try and solve Kaito, stop Kaito Kid from stealing this crown? He's like, no, I don't think I will. And then as they're leaving, goes, but if I had my left eye, I'd be able to help you. And in the opening, his left eye appears to have some sort of aperture built into it.
Yeah, it's more like I would say like a cat's eye or something like that. Like, yeah, like it's a special eye. So maybe he doesn't
like it have it anymore because of events which may have happened in the past. Because the other bit in the flashback of the previous episode is the dad saying, "We've got to get away. A monster's coming," who I assume is Rum.
Yeah. Also, the opening with like Rum like being like, I've got them all, I've got everyone fooled, and then the cops at the dock and the teacher is also at the dock, and he's like, oh fuck, are they gonna fight over this fucking magical eye? I kind of hope that's what it's about.
Yeah, because I was like, does he have like I'm thinking he had a cybernetic eye, and it's either a camera or it can shoot darts out of it.
I feel like a camera would be cooler because like shooting darts out of it is like Conan's got a watch that does that. We already have a thing that does that thing, but yeah.
That is true, but it would be interesting if somebody else on the other side had a thing which did that thing. And it killed you instead of just making
turned you into a child. I mean, he might have an eye that turns you into a child. That would be cool too.
Yeah, because I'm now wondering whether the guy in the car is someone who's been turned into an old man. It's gone the other way on him.
Oh, the drugs work backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. But we will see. I believe this story is where the Viz translation on the Viz manga site picks up after the gap of stuff they haven't translated yet.
Okay.
So yeah, I think from here on out you can read everything until where it currently is. The current arc introduces the idea of what if there was a group of detective children and they've grown up and now they're adults. And clearly Ayama's so impressed with that idea, he does it twice in the same chapter. Once with the suspects of the murder that's about to happen, and once with a set of characters who we've known for years. It's revealed, I think we also used to be child detectives. And I was like, fair enough. Just so because you don't want to just get rid of this idea after one use. Just bring it back.
Which is why we need more amenities for children, because to just get it up to development, whether it's committing crime or indeed solving it.
Yeah, this episode, like one of the, because they're like the whatever the Japanese equivalent of SWAT is, who they brought in for this.
The cops that they bring in to kick the shit out of Kaito Kid every time, and the guys do nothing every time.
Yeah, and there's one character who we see with his helmet off, and I was like, is that somebody we're supposed to know from before? I can't remember. But I think there's a character who's just been introduced in the manga who used to be part of this particular part of the police.
Okay.
So I don't know whether that's what made me think, are we supposed to know who that guy is?
I assume he's just taking his helmet off to eat sandwiches, but maybe that's what I'm supposed to think.
He just had slightly marginal, more interesting face than the rest of the cops had.
Yeah.
But as he didn't get like a little nameplate,
I know he's not a suspect. Yeah,
because it's the same with when the TV people are leaving. They've all got character designs as well. And I was like, are they just like the TV people who always show up
when Kaito's doing something?
Or when the TV persons need to show up to report on a news item.
Yeah, I guess like recurring background characters is a thing. Yeah.
Anyway, that's where we leave it. We'll find out next week which one is Kaito Kid, and will they stop him from getting the crown? I think they normally stop him. He very rarely actually gets away with it.
I mean, like usually he gets to go like, no, this isn't the thing I'm looking for. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he's just winding this old man up at this point.
Like he's made this corridor that makes this display of this crown he's acquired really fucking awkward to see. Like no one's gonna want to come see this exhibit. I gotta crawl down a fucking windy corridor. That sucks.
But after seeing the reaction to the guy who murdered the health insurance guy, CEO, it's like the crowds of people supporting Kaito Kid stealing from this billionaire now seems far more realistic.
Yeah. It's more entertaining. It is a show. Like he's literally doing like magic tricks.
But so, it's got a social message. Like everyone's going, yeah, fuck him up, Kaito Kid.
He brings it on himself because he just constantly boasts that he's going to get him this time. When I saw it in the preview on 11:49, I was like, oh, here we go again. Where he's boasting he's got a corridor that's going to trap him. I was like, you fool.
It's like what you need to do is instruct your armed fucking SWAT team that when he goes like, wait a minute, let me do my magic. It's like, no, guards, run over there and kick the shit out of him immediately.
He's going to do a magic trick. We want to see what's going to happen next.
That's how he gets you every fucking time. All that corridor wind and it couldn't blow away the smoke bombs that he used in this episode. Fuck's sake.
When it's blowing into the room, they point that out because the two girls, they're the ones who point that the corridor was still working.
So next time he's going to set his display like on top of a giant fan where you got to walk on top of it and it's just blowing up constantly. There's no way he can get out of this.
Just stop buying jewelry that's going to attract the Kaito kids.
Invest in stocks and shit like a normal businessman.
Or a gacha game. Anyway, Sakamoto Days, episode 1, The Legendary Hitman, and Sakamoto Days, episode 2, versus Sonhi and Bacho. It is a very TMS adaptation of Sakamoto Days. It's workmanlike, it gets the job done, but it doesn't quite feel the same thrills as actually reading the comic.
Yeah, I liked how well polished it was, but yeah, it's definitely not going the same.
It moves when it has to.
Yeah.
Much like Sakamoto himself.
And the added action is, it feels like it fits. But yeah, for the first episode, it was the bit where Sakamoto tasers the guys who are about to attack Shin is just so much more dynamic on the page than how they present it here.
Yeah.
Both in like where the camera position is and that there's more movement that Sakamoto's doing on the page than he is in the cartoon because they're animating the electricity rather than his arms. It's like, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
yeah.
tasers don't work like that. I'm pretty sure you've got to move your arm to make contact. You can't just shove it behind 3 guys and enough lightning will come out of it to stun them all.
To pacify them all. Yeah, sure.
They were standing in a puddle of water at the time, maybe. Maybe they pissed themselves so much because they were so afraid of him that droplets in the air just left between them. Well, I'm willing to give it like the guy like some time because I remember like there's earlier chapters like well laid out as they were, it's like yeah, it looked a bit rough around the edges. It was just like getting a little bit into it where I'm going like, oh yeah, wow, this is something I gotta keep an eye on now. It's really kind of finding its way around the page, So maybe they simply just need to find their way around.
Yeah,
Find a way around the screen.
I'm
and
trying to
make it
remember. There was an early bit in the comic that it's not just like a fighting set piece. It's like a area set piece. Like the old Jackie Chan wrote this down as a cool idea to do a place to do a fight in. And it has that kind of feel. And if they don't adapt that well, I might drop it. But because I still like the comic. I'd say this is probably going to bring people in, which is good because the comic is great. So
yes, because it's doing very good numbers on Netflix.
Yes, it was like number 4, not just for animating its its areas.
okay.
When it came out, it's like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like I've done this myself, even to have short time for it. Like, what if John Wick but the wife lived and they opened a corner shop together? It's like,
and he put on a bunch of weight.
Yes, or what if A History of Violence was more comedic?
Yes.
I think the John Wick one is obviously a good thing because we're constantly going to see assassins based on one shtick, and it's just like I'm the like immediately it's like Sakamoto, legendary hitman, and who's the first guy who comes after him? A psychic child, and it's just like you're going to open with that. It's like I think that's fine. And
like we're getting straight to like you get 2 kind of generic weird dudes with big blades early on, and like our next guy like my theme is hard boiled eggs and very distance of that, and then it's just like it goes for that for a while.
Yeah.
There are a few little on weeks that always have a little kind of shorter fun chapter here, like I concept of fun saying I'm like the fucking box cutter assassin, or I'm like the pizza assassin, the pizza delivery man assassin. It's just like yep, you could have done that for years, for ages, but it becomes a much more substantial comic, and given time it becomes a more substantial TV program as well.
Yes, because the first part is that so Shin is still working for a criminal gang, isn't it? In part 1, of which they're currently covering that setup in the comic. Very careful tie-in from the author to make sure the flashback arc happens.
If you jump in now, it would be great, actually. Yeah.
And then the second part, we're introduced to Lou, who's tied up with a triad gang, who are trying to get her inheritance.
And obviously part 1 is kind of Shin being like, I gotta assassinate Sakamoto, let's see if I can talk him down. I really like him though, he's very cool. He doesn't remember me at all, but I remember him and he's very cool. I was like, can't talk him down. So he kind of turns on his own gang to join the Sakamoto
organization. Organization, corporation.
So the second episode, his kind of thing was like, hey, what is the Sakamoto family rule that you keep not thinking about and keep thinking about murdering me, but not murdering me in order to freak me the fuck out?
Murder is okay as long as it's only in your mind. We don't actually kill anybody. We will fuck them up and definitely do life-changing injury to them, but you don't kill them. All right? That's the rule.
And this is laid down by his wife, who we see when we're seeing the flashback of her laying down the law originally. She's got a very Lois Lane attitude.
Yeah, I was thinking the same as well.
As she throws herself off a building in order to prove her point.
So isn't she like, she seems very nice and normal. How did he fall? Oh, she's fucking crazy. Like she's also a weirdo. It's like,
but I knew she was the one for me.
Dear.
I
But yeah,
gotta protect my family. I gotta protect their smiles, and I gotta protect them from themselves and their impulses. Apparently,
it's a thing I kind of forget from the early days of Sakamoto days. But I kind of forgot the way with the way Spy Family has our kid like basically aware of the internal monologues that people are having, which is very funny, like revealed to a small child that cannot make use of this information. Whereas Shin is having conversations with Sakamoto by reading his mind, because Sakamoto doesn't fucking talk most of the time. He's like, "Oh fuck, we should do that," and it's like fucking, like just fucking follow my lead kind of shit. Like he's thinking the thing. He's not like thinking it for the purposes of telegraphing that to Shin. He's just thinking a thing. Like Shin's seeing this backstory and he's like, "Oh, that's so touching," and everything. It's a weird way of doing a point of view character, and I really like it.
Well, if like again, kind of practical, it's just like if you can read my mind, just like follow this with that. No, I just like react on instinct. I was picking up whatever was on hand: frying pan, refrigerator, pen,
Yeah.
always a pen, and just using that to fend off the attackers. So let's do that.
Yeah, I think the other thing which is helping it is people who hadn't read it but have watched Chainsaw Man. They think the wife looks like Kameni, and so that's why they're very excited to watch this.
Okay.
Given that she hasn't come back in the main comic yet, which is probably for her own health that she doesn't come back.
Yeah.
I assume she's very much so retired or had a nervous breakdown.
What if she got a happy ending? That's why she jumped off that roof. That she's seeing things that would turn your hair white, turn this hair white apparently. So this is like Avra's thing. She's been transported to a void of pure unmitigated terror. Jumping off a building, no problem. Assassins, seen it, passe, get a real job.
Then it's Orb, episode 16, episode 17. It's time to begin the operation, and I could make a lot of money with this book, maybe, as we're introduced to our two new asshole protagonists.
Well, they're just very driven individuals.
Yeah. Yeah, so first of all, we meet Schmidt in episode 16, who is the head of the Heresy Liberation Squad.
I was getting a lot of Batman Begins Bane vibes from this thing. Like it was just like, "Oh, you thought I was a criminal, but I am the real free man." It's like nearly that kind of fucking. And the cool fucking, everyone's got a cool helmet, and I was just like, "Yeah, this guy seems pretty cool."
Yeah, I did that. Would you have me introduce? He's got a bag over his head, and we're talking about the leader of this group. Before and say, "Yeah, I heard he's got an 8-pack, and I heard he's super cool. He's got an awesome mustache." As well, I was like, I wonder if that person in the bag is him.
I think you might be onto something there, because of course Tom Hardy had that mustache playing Charles Bronson in Bronson. Yeah. Yeah. I like his two buddies who are not as grim as he is.
I really like that he's got. It's like, "All right, you're my trusted guy. You'll get the fucking smart things done. Hey, good job carrying those bags." And it's like, fucking what? That's all the praise I get. It's like, yeah, you're the extra guy. We brought an extra guy. You're him.
Yeah, I need someone to bring the explosives. Hey, Inquisitors, have you heard of these explosive things? They come from the east. Yes, he's explaining there's 3 things he needs to do, because it turns out the two of the Inquisitor guards in the room are actually his men.
The 2 guys who brought him in the Inquisitor paddy wagon. I'm not sure what the hell those things are called, but they're always driving those things. It's like, yeah, we're outnumbered 10-1. We need an exit because we can't come in the same way we come in, and we need to break into the vault to get the thing we did. Fortunately, we brought a big bomb. Like, throw his bomb. It's like, why is that bag on fire? Kaboom! Yeah.
You're all dead. We get to the safe. Get on out of here.
They get the book. Is like, does it mention our boys anywhere? And man's like, no, it didn't really mention them. I was like, I had a look at the editor's notes and nothing.
We'll just take shelter in this abandoned village. Your phone, okay? Okay, we'll go out and scout around. You just settle down and read that book. Yep, I'll settle down and read the book. I was just about to start reading it, but oops, there's commotion. There's somebody here. It's okay. I'll just put it into the drawer of this desk and we'll get out of here before we get spotted.
Yes, because they're going to wait. The leader. They talk about the leader. He's not the leader of this group.
He's acting like the leader again. Very
Yeah.
Bane-like kind of situation, I think. But yeah,
I think we pretty easy who guess who the leader is based on the fact they're looking for two names in this book, and the names aren't in that book. And it's like, who would know those two names and expected them to be in that book?
literally, those guys are people who are not going to be recorded in the history of Bedini and Butchie. Yeah, the person who knew them very fucking well. And what are we, 25 years later? Like
25 years
25 years later.
Enough time to build up La Resistance. So
and we get a brief flashback, which I assume is Schmidt as a child, of his mother and father being killed by a heretic.
Oh, yeah.
Because the village he came from decided that the church was the cause of all their woes, and so it burnt every single crucifix in town.
I think the heretic as well is his uncle, like his father's brother.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's him as a kid as well, because the kid also has beautiful eyelashes the same way.
Luxuriant mustache.
Not yet. He'll get that down the line.
So they leave the book. They'll have to come back to it later. But who is in this village? Who is with these men? Well, it would be Antoni, who's now a bishop. And
God damn it. He's doing well.
He's such a fucking dick.
He got his dad's job.
And let those guys go, because this old man who we've never seen before is more benefit to him. And then we will find out in the next episode why this old man is of more benefit to him.
The way that's kind of presented in is like, oh, is that the leader of the organization? It's like, no, that's some unrelated fucking guy, as we find out in the
he's
next
some old dude who bums around with these nomads, and we're getting to know like their lifestyle through Draka, who is just like, I guess I make me money. I need money. How is it going to make more money? So it's like, but Draka, we're like, a community, just like we help each other out, and give each other along. If you're inviting in competition and efficiency, people will just like, lose their motivation to help each other and saying, yeah, but we gotta make more money, While if someone's not pulling their weight, is it right that they should get the same as everybody else because they're pulling their weight? But yeah, but come on, you got to reach people and say no.
Like going to the leaders, like, so you recognize that I'm very important, and I've come up with brilliant plans for us to make a lot of fucking money. I come up with the idea of we could raid plague-ridden villages after everyone's fucking died, take the clothes, repair it, sell it on, and you're like, yeah, that does a lot of good. But everyone gets the same cut, right? We're too small to be running competition, and we don't want to get too big that it becomes like unsustainable as a community. So, but I mean, like, we do appreciate what you do, and we are going to pay you for the work the same way we pay everyone for the work. And she's like, but I need a big pile of money to get rid of my fear of death.
So no one can mess with me.
Yeah.
Is that?
And we get like little flashbacks to her youth, where her father died, and all that she's got is money, and he died trying to get this money, and so it's like, well, if I've got money, there's no chance of me dying, because I won't need to risk my life to get the money. But in the meantime, I'll risk my life to get the money. But I feel like I deserve more of the money than the rest of the people in my community.
So when she's gone out as a little kid every morning to cry because that's what she remembers, learning that her dad died, giving her a big bag of money, our slightly younger old guy kind of says to her, it's like, oh fuck it, you can't go off crying on your own the whole time, like it's not great. I'll tell you 3 magical secrets. And she's like, is that against God? It's like, don't worry about it. The first thing is there is no God. That's the first magic spell I'm going to teach you, which is great. It's good to fucking know, because then that doesn't fucking control you. What was the second magical spell? Learn as much as possible.
Use your knowledge, like, that don't read in books, but like, it's what
read
you
everything.
Do. It's what you do with that, and that turns that's information into knowledge, turns information into expertise. So.
If you read loads of things and take in loads of stuff, you can turn disparate information that doesn't seem related into, you can see the connections between it, and then it's actually usable knowledge. And the third one you'll discover by doing the first 2 things, which is your conviction. Yeah, the thing you want to do.
And of course, we should contrast this with Schmidt's beliefs, which were explained in the previous episode.
Yeah.
Is that he believes in God. He doesn't believe in any religion.
Yeah.
He believes that
there's a higher power, but
create the rules.
Yeah.
The dudes that they rescue along with the book that they wanted from the Inquisitors are like, we want to join you. And he's like, great. We don't need any new guys right now, but we got one fucking rule. All right, burn this Bible. And they're like, what? It's like, yeah, you believe in God, right? So Get rid of that. All of that's fucking bullshit. Like, you don't need that. And it's like, we can't really burn that. It's like, all right, I respect your opinion. We might fight one day. See you later. It's just like he's being really cool about it, honestly.
This isn't going to make anybody do it, like, you know, because
no. It's like, if you can, then you can join us. If you can't,
understand you're taking a lot of risk, you know, because there are some dudes who will like pull a teeth out of your head for taking the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also reinforces the idea that a lot of the people who are being dragged in as heretics aren't actually heretics.
They believe in God in a different fucking way. I mean, like, we know that with Bedini. Bedini did not have a disbelief in God.
Just spoke to the wrong old lady, as we've seen from previous stories.
Yeah.
But it happens so, like, you know, but the way you treat them, you know, when innocents get caught in the crossfire as well, all it does is it just radicalizes the heretics even more by saying, well, if they're going to torture us for anything anyway, we may as well, like, stand up for ourselves.
Yes, arm ourselves and fight back. So Draka ends up finding the book in the drawer. She's like, "Oh, I can make money out of this. How do I make money out of this? Gotta print this. How do I print it?"
Is this actually like a famous book already? I don't fucking know. Maybe I just haven't fucking read it. And it's the thing of, it's like, it's provocative, but it's not like book smart, because mostly people write about religious thing and like fucking brainiac shit. This is like a book written for everyone that it gets you behind heliocentrism without like getting into the maths and shit.
Drowning you in facts and figures.
Which is like, yeah, but I mean, like, that's basically selling an idea that's antithetical to the church, which is good, because there is a growing like unrest with fuck this church telling us what to fucking do,
so
taking our money the whole time.
For it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how do I make money off of this book?
Yeah. Meanwhile, her uncle has sold us
any of it. By the time it actually gets anywhere, would he be long dead?
Yeah, her uncle got caught by the bishop, and he's like, "I'll give you my wine." He's like, the bishop's like, "Cool, I'm taking your wine anyway. I'm still fucking capturing you. I'm going to torture you."
He's like, such a fucking dick. Oh,
what if I get you someone more valuable to me, which is his granddaughter and niece, I should say. And so he's like, "Yeah, sorry, my conviction is, I told you years back, I'll do anything to survive. I don't fucking care." And she's kind of like, "All right, I knew it was going to come to this, old man." That's where we leave it off. Like,
yeah. It's like, oh, the things which are driving her were also driving him, and she's become a cropper of the same.
A different kind of greed. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a wily old coot.
So the question is just now, how do these two people meet, and how are they going to react to each other?
Yeah.
They are two very different people. This is a lot of fun. The time skipping in this series is fantastic.
The time skipping is great. The unsympathetic characters who you're really rooting for are great. Yeah. The fact that you know that these motherfuckers can be murdered at any fucking stage, and it doesn't matter. The story still keeps going.
Yeah, it's just this, like, its ideas. This thing is just like, it's just falling down like through the decades now. And it's just people are getting inspired by it in different ways, and instead it's taking hold. It's like it was some there's like. Heliocentrism will prove, like, you know, the truth of God's creation. We can, like, you know, revere us in a much more sincere and faithful way. And I know this is fun saying, geez, there could be a lot of money in this now, you know. I really believe this is like, you know, going to lead to the future for us. It's like, you know, that's believing in it. It's not the most noble, but, you know, it's still right.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny in the back of Putsky's book that it's just like, there's no author name given, but it says, "Hey, if you make any profit off this, 20%." I'm getting the two names mixed up.
Patoki.
He's saying give 20% to Patoki, and then it has his address down here. It's just like,
again, it's like, you know, he's
gonna get him in so much trouble. Dear.
I know, but you know, you might get that money. You know, he's just holding out. Do a lot for that orphanage.
Then we got the Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world. Episode 1, the Red Ranger and the Mage, and episode 2, a Red Ranger and adventurers, of which I've watched the first one but I didn't manage to watch the second one beyond the last 5 minutes.
I watched the first one as well.
I've watched the first 2. I'm not sure I'm going to watch any more.
Guys, I got the sense that other things I need to get to this week. Okay, but we're prioritizing these.
Yeah,
you know, like I got the sense that this Red Ranger thing, it's pretty okay, I suppose. But I have a funny feeling it's fun blowing all of its repertoire of jokes in the first episode. I mean, we'll be doing these like numerous times.
It has a couple of other jokes, but like, yeah, it like the jokes were good, but I'm thinking the same thing as you know. It's like, how many times can you use that?
The direction and storyboarding is the problem I have with the first episode. But the jokes and the premise, the central joke, is fantastic. So
it's solid.
It's a Sentai. It's a Super Sentai character who's been isekai'd after defeating.
He's died after the final battle of defeating his evil lord. They're the
Breakup King. Yes, Breakup King.
They're the Bonds Rangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because we get the initial detail is of the Breakup King, which is like, that's a strange name, and then as the first episode, the information about the Super Sentai part of the story gets passed out. The joke is that the world he's come from is far more bizarre and strange than a bog standard fantasy world that he's ended up in.
So our mage is like our POV character, because it's like, I'm a mage. Let's go on quests. There's a dungeon. It's like, yeah. We know all this shit. It's just like, and he's a Sentai. Yeah, we know what that is. Like, wait, he is a marriage gun? What the fuck does that mean? Just like, yeah.
Why did the skeletons explode? There's just no way they could have exploded.
Like, it's one thing that he can transform, and like, according to my magic, he's not casting any spell to do this, but also that everything explodes behind them in pink powder, like, for no reason, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, so
it is actually there. You can't get caught in that explosion and then thrown aside.
They use real pyrotechnics whenever he transforms, basically. Yeah.
And I think the first episode, the advertising break goes into her like question to go, how does his powers work? And then the eye catches are explanations of how his powers work. So that's all good and funny. The characters are quite good, but the storyboarding is, how many times can we get shots of this wizard's tits?
See, that's the fucking. The first shot of her is like a shot of her kind of go like, hoo, these adventures aren't going to be any good. Second shot is her tits and her butler, and I'm just like, yeah, it's like that. It's like that in the second episode as well, where a couple of adventurers like, oh, we're gonna make her strip off.
Well, she's most of the way there already. I think wherever you board it, she's kind of just damned by her character design. I mean, that big head is not going to cover up anything down here, unless she just really leans her head forward.
And it'd be one thing if just had a massive fucking cleavage thing, but she also has like midriff stuff, and it's just like, are you hot or cold? Why are you wearing a cape and like nothing on the top? Like, yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, the Super Sentai stuff is really funny.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
because we keep learning more about this show that didn't fucking happen, but the entirety of it happened before this show, and it's just like, see, that's the other thing. It kind of cuts back to like, I remember this is like a case when the Yellow Ranger and the Green Ranger got in a fight, and I was just like, oh yeah. I see. You can refer, and the episode title comes up whenever he refers to a thing he remembers from back in his prior life, and I'm like, that's funny. But like, how often can it fucking do that? That's the thing, yeah.
Well, I feel as well that's like just I already have like a low tolerance for this thing anyway, and I'm already seeing like ones that have like they're doing like a similar thing like this but better. I would think that Dragon Ball Daima is like, here are characters from a fighting a Sunday morning fighting thing, and they get transported to a fantasy realm, and they don't obey by the rules because they're from a different cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the script. I'm, as you say, there's plenty of other things that outshine it on everything else.
Like, I'll give you a rough breakdown of jokes I thought were good in the second episode. She joins Adventure Guild. She gets an adventurers card. You know, it has HP, magic, strength. It has the standard fucking stats or whatever, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, I got one of those, and he has it, and his is like his collectible Sentai card that has his punch power and his kick power and like a little bio about him that is completely different format. And I was just like, that's funny. He doesn't apply the rules even of the Adventurers Guild magical card. They summon the giant robot to fight a bunch of minotaurs in a cave, but it's too big, so it's just like blocking up the whole thing. I was like, that's funny. that's a good joke. But like, it's a couple of bits like that. I was like, that's good, but like, I wish it was in a better show. And also, I'm watching better friggin' isekai shows currently. That's not helping.
Yes, I mean it's written by the TV series is written by Asahiro Tomoika, so I'm fairly confident he could come up with good jokes. It's the question of whether the original comic has enough good jokes in it to begin with, and whether I assume the lascivious eye that it has is coming from the comic rather than the storyboard artists.
I guess,
but who knows? Sometimes it's just the horny storyboard artist.
They need some reason to live, don't they?
They do. Got to get through this. So,
I don't remember if it was the first episode or the second episode, but there's one where she gets blasted away by one of the many fucking explosions that he produces due to all his bullshit. And she kind of lands like tits first into the ground and drags along it. I was like, that's kind of funny. But then like her ass is fully in shot and her cape falls over her ass and the fucking crack of her arse is still fucking there.
I
and
think that must be episode 2 because I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a very tight-fitting cape.
I was just like, could you not, like, because I liked the fucking being dragged by your fucking tits across the ground from an explosion. That's funny. And then you had to make it a little hornier than what I already just fucking described. And I was just like, come on, I'm trying to like you here, show.
Anyway, let's move on to a different sort of ogling bodies. Is Kinnikuman Perfect Origin Arc? Season 2, episode 12. And episode 30. Did these things have titles? I'm sure
they do, but it was an episode preview. Never mentioned anywhere else. I keep forgetting.
I don't know what episode 1's fucking called, but shit. I didn't fucking write it down for episode 2. I just checked. Yeah, episode 2's title is at the end of episode 1, but I can't fucking remember what the hell it is now.
See whether the Kinnikuman wiki also does not know what these episodes are called. Anyway, needless to say, there's some fighting going on. They've got to go to this pyramid. The perfect Chojin get there the same way the previous perfect Chojin got to their fighting things by climbing into a giant gun and being shot.
They pull off a bit of themselves.
I totally forgot about that.
Machine gun. That's just how they fucking travel. That wasn't a weird thing. That's just how perfect fucking Chojin travel. They tear off a bit of themselves. It forms a giant machine gun, and they shoot themselves to their destination. Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else has to fly there.
I didn't know they could fly.
Don't worry, Kinnikuman and Terryman, we'll carry you there so you can cheer us on. But you don't have to fight. But we're not going to let you fight because you're injured and you can rely on your allies. And essentially, this first episode is all about how great it is to have allies. But I'd rather be carried by Robin Masker than you, Brocken Jr.
What's wrong with me? It's just like,
Well, to be fair, Robin Mask was not going to carry him there. He wouldn't be there unless Brocken Jr. carried him. They weren't going to leave him behind. And Brocken Jr. apparently dropped him in a lake on the way there.
Well, he was complaining the whole fucking way. Like, I would too. Yeah. Cool his jets.
But weirdly, that is setting up stuff in the second episode about Brocken Jr. messing up all the time and he's having to
being the butt of the joke. Like, I'm not fun. Your dad was a Nazi. And saying, shut up! you can't keep hanging that over me. Is that fair?
Because they've got to go up these tunnels. There's 7 tunnels, so you don't know which one of the perfect Chojin you're going to fight, and so they all start racing.
Yeah, because the perfect Chojin, some of them are like, I'd like to fight that guy specifically, and it's like, but we don't get a choice. They get to pick the tunnel, and it's totally fucking random. It's a fair lottery system we've come up with in this pyramid of wrestling.
Well, Buffalo Man goes through any phone saying, "This is 2 for the stairs, son of a bitch." And what about? But I know who I'm fighting next. Yep, just counts the stairs. Like, oh
yeah. Yes, because Brocken Jr. is like, oh, I'm not going to let any Akuma Chojin beat me to one of the tunnels, and starts racing Buffalo Man. The Buffalo Man beats him, and he gets mad at the door coming down in front of him. Meanwhile, that allows everybody else to get in tunnels, and he's the last one to go through, even though he was the one who chose to race. This is great foreshadowing for everything that's going to come in his actual fight.
Yeah.
Because this is the end of episode 12. Is he just starts punching
Crush Man.
Crush Man repeatedly in the face, and you think he's going to do great, but he ends up getting his hand caught in the extra crushing palm that Crush Man has on his legs.
That's a dirty trick, but that's pretty good. Don't expect you to have hands down there.
And then things do not go so well for him in episode 13. Because he's almost killed.
Lucky Ramen Man is there, just to give him some words of encouragement. But you gotta believe in yourself, Brocken Jr. I remember I used to be like this fucking like crazy killer, man. I see coincidentally, I have like a bunch of the old ones there. I was watching the one where Ramen Man killed his dad. By turning him into noodles and eating him.
I guess they don't show that in the flashback because that would be less dramatic than him putting him in a camel clutch.
Well, we do see him like, I was a pretty wild wrestler, like, back in the day. So with that maniacal grin on his face, I just fucking dudes up and fun saying. But I had to mellow out my old age because otherwise I wasn't going to have any friends left. And friendship is what you can really kill people with. So I described it that ideal instead. And like you were like, I taught you, so I must have took you under my wing after I killed your dad. I felt it was only right. So wanted to remember what I taught you, Bonnie. Remember what I taught you, boy. Yes,
because meanwhile, like Crushman's been like, yeah, you failed your dad, you failed Ramen Man, you failed Soldier, you're just a broken Shojin. He can't do anything right.
You're just filler. You're just a jobber here to make up numbers.
Yeah, so he comes back and just starts tearing bits of metal off Crushman.
I did like him putting one of Crushman's metal fingers. I don't know what they call those tentacle things that come out of him. Like he puts that in a camel clutch to rip it off of him, and it does fucking hurt the guy, I guess. So, yeah.
He may be a cyborg, but he still feels programmed to feel pain, I suppose.
Yeah. I assume the first move he did must have been one of Soldier's, because it's like he's doing Soldier's move, then Ramen Man's move, and then his dad's move to finish it off. Where he puts his goddamn hand right through the guy's face.
Like cuts him from the top of the head down to somewhere in the mid torso, like just slices him right the fuck open.
It's a really cool karate chop, like your hand goes on fire. It's pretty unfortunate that they do a good job of covering up. We know what the starting position of that attack is. This kind of chop motion. We know where it starts. And it's unfortunate this episode aired the week that it did.
Yeah.
And this is it for Crushman. So he reaches into the hole that has been made in his chest, pulls out his heart, and crushes it. And Nemesis goes, "Good suicide, Crushman."
Way to go! I always believed in you.
You went out like a chump, but the correct kind of chump that we approve of. So it's all good.
It's like Rocket Drew was like, well, I was a bit of a fuck up, but I got better. Like if you just kill everybody, if someone fucks up, how are you gonna get any better? Fun said, I don't know. I've never failed before. So here we go.
Yeah, because a bunch of them are pointing out a bunch of guys who have all lost matches. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, we've lost, but we've come back. Like, Brocken Jr. is a perpetual loser, as your man said, and he fucking won that fight. So, like, he showed his naysayers what for. You can have a comeback, but not if you fucking kill yourself on your first loss.
That's just Nemesis trying, dress up fun, saying, yeah, it's whatever. Like, he may have won a match, but Crushman died like a boss. You gotta admit, it's like pretty badass. It's like, Nemesis, come on.
They pointedly have a bit in the previous episode though, where is it Warsman who's Springman's mad about because he's like, why not teaming up with them? He killed me once.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. We have, wrestling moves that can bring you back to life. So don't worry about it. We might see Crushman again.
Following that, Robin Mask wants a rematch with Atlantis, who we saw die in the last season.
Ended a draw due to both wrestlers dying.
Well, he could always fight Atlantis Jr. or something, it's fine.
No, you guys say that for Kinnikuman Nisei when all of their kids are doing it. That's a different anime. Robert Mask somehow grew a mustache through his mask.
Yes, because we kind of know who's going to survive by who's in that series. And then we get into Ramen Man's fight with, what's this guy's called?
Marvelous,
that's him.
He's a kung fu guy with dragons coming out of his shoulders, and he's called Marvelous. And it was just like, that wouldn't be the name I expected, but yeah.
You trying to be like a bigger kung fu wrestler than me, because you do the kung fu and also you got dragon shoulders. Like, yep, I'm coming for you, man. You threw it away. You used to be a merciless killer. That's what being a kung fu wrestler is all about. It's just, you changed, man. When you sold out, you mellowed out. I'm still like young. I'm still deadly.
I did kind of like the inspiration that Brocken Jr. gets to do a bunch of his dad's and his mentors moves and that kind of stuff is seeing Ramen Man grab one of those dragon heads and pirouette inside his mouth. It's like, just like he did to my father. And it's just like, and then shot of him doing that to a Nazi. And I was just like, fucking hell, this is a weird show, man.
I'm so glad we have it back though.
Are they still fighting at the end of this episode?
They're still going.
Yeah.
Like Ramen Man, he's gonna lose his shirt. He's like, I gotta go full on, what? I gotta find the crazy in me again to take this one down.
It goes before he gets slammed into a wall, he's doing a camel clutch, and I was like, yes, Ramen Man, do the camel clutch, the thing that you're good at murdering people with. And he's like, I'll put it into a sleeper hold. And they're like, what the fuck, Ramen Man? That's not your signature murder move. And he's like, I don't murder anymore. I'm not that guy no more. He says as he's been slammed into the side of the pyramid.
It's Sakamoto family rule. I can't break it.
Yeah.
I did like the bit in the first episode where the narrator just sort of hand waves where this massive crowd has come from with sometime later. It's like
they fly there at a normal fucking speed. They fly there at a running speed. So the
They've
crowd
got
come here.
excellent roadies. They just can set this thing up like a couple of hours, old hands at this, and around a national monument, no less. Usually guy gets a lot of permits to build a stage around there, but they know their way around.
I mean, it's half a national monument now. They destroyed half of it.
Well, it's a natural wonder this now, but it's been marred by having a pyramid ripped out and just thrown onto it for some reason. Not some reason, it's a fate of the world.
Yeah.
Is it the fate of the? I think they're just here to kick everyone's ass.
Yeah, but that means they're free to wrestle.
We'll take over the world.
To wrestle anybody in the world they want, and we're average human beings. We couldn't survive when one of their moves.
Yeah, but you could just go, no thanks, I'm not a wrestler.
It just kind of keeps Stormfront and saying, well, we'll settle this at Kinnikuman Mania 2 coming this summer on pay-per-view. Nemesis is like, okay, I'll see you in the ring then. And you just never call him back. You just move away, change your name.
Then we've got Zenshu episode 2 and Zenshu episode 3, Defend and then Destiny. I've watched episode 3 and I've watched the magic animation bit in part 2, in episode 2. I figured I could rely on the recap for this one.
The thing about Defend is, I mean, I guess she was already breaking the continuity of her favorite anime movie, but in this case, it's kind of like you're breaking it in a way that shit's going differently now, because Defend is this will ruin their crops, and hundreds of people will die of starvation and scurvy and whatnot.
They're supposed to lose this one, but what if they won this one?
Well, then they have a big party, and it's just like, huh? Yes, I mean, that is different from the movie.
If you save the crops, they can harvest the crops and then eat the crops in a big slap-up meal.
Yes, because the impression I got from 3 is like the changes that she's making are making Luke, our hero, struggle because the milieu that he's supposed to exist in no longer exists.
Yeah,
and so he doesn't know how to celebrate at this party that shouldn't be happening because it was supposed to be a funeral for his unicorn friend.
Yeah.
And then we get the sage come up to Natsuko and point out what's written in her predictions, and that's not happening. And is this good or bad?
Which is she's kind of noticing stuff as well, Luke Braveheart, besides being a hero, is actually a really good cook. This wasn't his character sheet at all. His height, his blood type. He doesn't like women. I don't like way they talk to each other. It's just taking all context. But didn't mention he was good at cooking. So there was obviously detail and background to these characters that she's just that well. It didn't come up in the movie. There wasn't any time.
That's the other thing as well. In the second episode, she meets I was going to say a foxy lady, a lady who is a fox,
yes,
bartender who's like, hey, free drinks for the hero. And it's like, wait a minute, this is based on my manager. I was like, because she also worked with my, her producer, sorry. My producer also worked with my favorite fucking anime thing. It's just like, so I guess she based some of the background characters, people she knew. I wonder if she ever knows that she was this thing. And I was like, you an Alice in Wonderland type situation? Not Alice.
Yeah, well, but
Dorothy
that's what makes me think
situation.
as well. This is a Conan fantasy. She's
Yeah.
she's fitting in other elements with her own experience.
Yes. Yeah, that's the impression I got from a bureaucrat to villainess this week as well.
Yeah, in a similar kind of thing. But like in this one, it's obviously this is my favorite anime, but it's got a lot of flaws in it, and it's like it's a real fucking downer. What if I edited like, and it's her trying to get her over her creative block. What if I
Yes.
edited it to make it better, a happy ending?
That's
things
like a
were
common,
good.
isn't it? Like a common like creative like prompt for yourself. It's just
Yeah.
like, you know, take like, you know, maybe a film that you think didn't end well, or even like a really bad film. You talk, you know, and just workshop it and just see where you
Yes.
go. That's why her peg bar is saying like, you know, you gotta draw, you gotta keep drawing for it. Okay, I'll draw the giant wire from Nausicaa again. No, you can't draw the same thing again. We haven't got any stock footage anymore. You gotta draw something new and original, like the
You
Italian
have to add
circus to
something
pick out
to
the
it.
spaceship. It's like, oh yeah, good idea.
That was a good fucking Iwatani circus, I will say.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they got him in to do it.
Yeah. Oh, but like it's because it has the animation fucking like again the animation notes on the fucking missile trails and everything. It's just very nice.
Yes, because the destiny of episode 3 is Destiny Heartwarming, Luke's beloved, who Natsuko hates this character.
She hates and loves the character. It's
Well,
a weird kind of
She
combination.
hates
like,
the character because it's just like, you know, from watching the film so many times and saying, oh, she's fucking typical damsel in distress. Everyone's problems, you know, she's always getting into trouble, getting kidnapped or something like that. Oh man.
She always wanders in at the most inopportune times to be in danger so that Luke has to step up, and it's really fucking annoying. But she's actually like really nice and just like cool.
Yeah, because I wrote down, what on earth was this anime if Destiny Heartwarming's meet cute with Luke was supposed to have happened at a funeral in this way? Because where she's being chased around by a guy in his harem, and then the point is, it was a badly written, and this is kind of the thing. It's almost like, is it right if you're in the world of a badly written story? Is it morally right to change the plot even if it's bad?
Yeah, and this is a more like her meeting is like, your unicorn friend died for us. Thank you so much, Luke. And that was essentially their meeting, and then they get to know each other, and she opens up his heart in order to die fucking in front of him and further break him as a person.
Yeah,
and it was just like that's her destiny, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, if we're going with common fantasy, if she's trying to work out her creative block or issues like that. It's like getting to the I don't feel like, you know, I can deliver like this like anime film right now. I mean, even my favorite director who died recently, I love this film, and then it's just like, you know, I like that film a lot, but I can see now from working in this industry for a little bit, you know, learn things about storytelling and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of holes in this. Maybe I do have this stuff, and she's going to, you know, actualize herself.
And she's even working out plot holes to the things that she's not plot holes, plot fixes to things that she's added in. So obviously now it's a comedic kind of thing where it's just like, oh, darling, you need to marry me into my harem. I'm the richest man in town, and if you marry me, I'll build that orphanage you want. And she goes like, you're the mayor's daughter. And she's like, yeah.
You've got loads of money already. Why do you need this?
You could just like make it a public works type thing to build a new orphanage for the kids. And she's like, oh yeah, I suppose I fucking could.
Yeah. She eventually convinces him to do this by the power of Tiger Mask. Sorry, Serval Cat Mask.
He's not a wrestler. He's a savate fighter. It's completely different. It's a very different kind of character.
But yeah, the thing they point out with Destiny previously is that all the bad things that happen to them after this plot are her fault because she would appear in scenes she should not be in.
They just love like, you know, making that I think she's so clever in her mind phrasing it this way. All the problems like stem forth because of destiny. The person, not the abstract concept. It's the person.
Yeah. So at the end, she has adopted the Serval Cat Mask persona and is going to open her own orphanage.
And that's a different wrestler thing, which is great to fucking pull into this. I'm very happy with that. But the other thing I think, because her dad's the mayor, I fucking love the hugely buff mayor. The not functional muscle, the bodybuilder muscle mayor.
Yes.
That's really funny, and that's her dad. And he's like, I guess she has to marry the richest man in town. But now that she's going to marry the legendary hero, he's like, or that she's showing interest in that. He's like, I'm actually much more interested in that. And the fact that she's taking on a wrestler persona, and I believe there's a big buff woman in shadow and thing, is like she's going to get fucking jacked. I think that's what's going to happen by the end of this, and maybe
also
be
because
a useful character that can wrestle her way out of problems.
the mayor's character design being scantily clad excuses her character design being scantily clad as well.
It's actually really,
She's
that's
wearing
good
more
design.
than he is, so he
Yes.
can't like be scandalized by what
She's
she's
wearing
not
at least
wearing.
a bikini top. He's just wearing a speedo and a half cape. That's it.
Well, they're
Nothing
dressed for the
else.
weather. This is in the middle of this is a city in the
guess
middle of a
that's
desert.
true,
You know.
And again, her having pink hair as the girl character with pink hair. Just like no. She gets it off her dad, who's bald with a pink mustache. And I was like, it's a very funny, good character design. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the stuff with the fucking unicorn being a pervert at the party.
He's a Minetta.
Because
He's
he's
a
looking
Minetta.
for virgins. He's a unicorn. That's what they do. I was just like, oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
He turns into like the more musical phone saying, "Hey, baby, want to hop in my back and go for a ride? Go cruising?" Nope. Okay. He just keeps trying that on everybody at the party.
There's a sexy cat lady who is interested in him, taking him up on this offer. Yep, this was a lot of fun. I will probably eventually catch up on episode 2. But
yeah. I think I think episode 2 as well. You know why she swings the unicorn around by the horn and why she's so frustrated with him, because she's like, you little bastard, you know how fucking expensive it was to buy your acrylic keychain on the aftermarket, and like swinging him around. And I was just like, I presume she did that to the keychain back in the day. And I was like, that's good. It's a good show. Yeah.
What's the elf up to as well?
Elf is up to shit. Absolutely up to shit.
Yes,
Trying
we
to get
get
the
the
plot
thing
back
of
on
her.
track.
So she's not impressed with their religious ceremony because it's only been around 200 years. It's just a passing fad.
I'm not into fads. Like that's a good joke for an elf. I like the way it's just like, and again, the plot happening out of order. It's like, wait a minute, the doppelganger of the high priest, who's like some sort of, he looks like a rock muppet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. A doppelganger of him. He's not supposed to show up until like the third act. Like that's not in order. And it's like, yeah, because you fucked with the continuity of this thing. Things are now happening wrong. So your predictions aren't necessarily going to be right, but you can summon a thing. You can summon a plot device to fix them. So that's grand.
Yes, plus you can make the doppelganger reveal himself by doing the Charleston.
But when she points out, it's like, there's no way that's the high priest. And then the other guy turns into the fucking monster, and she's like, oh, I guess he could do that.
Well, that worked.
It worked.
It's kind of
wrong.
like the thing from the thing that's like once you critically guess, it finds out it has to transform into a horrible abomination and attack you. It's like, oh, you got me. I'm bound by the rules.
Then we got Chibi Godzilla episode 38 of season 2, Dream Hot Spring. Chibi Gigan has found his dream hot spring, but he can't actually get into because he's a cyborg.
He's a robot and his parts will rust, but he could appreciate it as a natural hot spring source. Get the fuck away from that Hedera. Get the fuck away.
But no.
And he becomes his true, more sinister form, the clean Hedera.
The politically correct Hedera returns.
And even the characters in the show forgot. Oh yeah, that's what he's like. I've kind of forgot that.
I mean, that long since they.
I know, but they're not very smart. Is the thing. Yeah.
Yes, and he's made the hot spring all slimy. That's it. Dr. Stone, Science Future, episode 2, Science Journey, and episode 3, Light Trap in the Darkness. This is the thing I skipped because I've read the comic, so I'll be able to know.
Well, fear not, because they didn't skip. They didn't have time last time. They didn't skip over the individual personal mocktails for each of the principal casts. It's like, oh, here you go. Here's a recipe. Try it at home yourself.
They all sound really nice. I will say. Once again,
hey, Matsukaze, have a beer. Tell me about this Lord who looked like me and how badass he was. Like, this, and I'm totally like it. It's just like it was a real tragedy. The devices came from the sky, and it seemed like they were designed for us to just be dropped there and be forced to use them against each other. And my lord, he died. It's like going, why would something like this happen to us?
The tragic thing of like it's not only like they dropped the devices on them, airdropped them on to turn them into stone people, but it's the fact that they're voice activated, and a person go like, wait, I could just input time, distance, that kind of fucking shit. It's just like, okay, so they are given to people as weapons, which made the tribes fight amongst themselves, and they were on the losing tribe side because they were using swords and cool shit like that rather than devices from the moon. But yeah.
Well, guess what? We have modern martial arts prowess. I think everybody here is on the fighting team is going to need to like get in shape as you're like yoga. You're back on. I know, like, you know, we were worried about you before, but you seem pretty okay back there. You know, you took out like a worse spear guy. Oh, you're on petrifying him right now. Okay, that's cool too. He could be a good fighter.
Well, no, that was one of Hyoga's stipulations.
Demands.
Like, I'll work for you under 2 conditions. I get to pick the next 2 people who get revived. And I was like, the incredibly violent man and the violent woman who works for me. It's just like, it's like a terrible idea, but they're gonna do it. Yeah.
Let's get out of here, Kinro. Because they're a bunch of psychopaths. We should give up for them while train Game Protopon saying, yes, I do. Clack, clack, clack. So they passed along Sea Voyage, you know. We've been told how GPS works. GPS works fine as long as you got like clear skies. Oh no. So we get a little side about Vikings use like bits of rock they called sunstones to find the sun, and when it was like cloudier and thick fog. So Chrome, you got one of those? You bet I do. Chip it out. We got it right here. It's like, that's how they was done it. It's like a scientific basis behind
prism,
the myth.
Essentially. Yeah. And they did find that on Viking things, and just comparing the Perseus to a Viking longboat as well, just to give you a sense of scale. Because I was like, how big is this fucking boat again? Pretty big. So, yeah.
Well, it's a reverse Vinland Saga. We're coming from the other side and discovering North America and encountering the wonder and terror that lies there. Yeah. Having their hopes dashed upon thing. You know, we kind of figured it's probably going to be like this, but we thought, like, none of us have ever been to America, you know, maybe they didn't get petrified. Maybe that story went up before. It could have turned out to be true, but no, it's definitely gone. It's definitely the same things. There's people everywhere, so it's going to stick to the plan. We've got to find this corn, turn it into juice. We also have like going up the... Not the Colorado River. We go every river runs through California. We're going to follow that up.
I can't think of the name of it now. I think it's a sea name.
Up to the source. We're going to kill some alligators, turn them into burgers, and have that North American staple, the hamburger, to double stack cheeseburger. If you're in America, you got to have cheeseburgers.
Yeah, about the only American thing they can really point to is sequoias, I guess, is the thing. I guess the alligators or crocodiles or whatever are an American phenomena as well that the rest of the Stone Age people wouldn't be used to.
I suppose. I guess you can think you have alligators on the East Coast, and then do they think they do have like American crocodiles as well? Because they could call them crocodiles. Did they mean alligators? I'm not sure now.
But
missing question.
Yeah, while gutting one of the crocodile alligators, he's like, "Hey, this was stuck in it. It's a whole husk of corn," and it's like, "Wow, that's a good sign that corn is upriver."
It's just floating in the water right there. You can just pick it up, just like with your hands, it's floating by. It's just like, and when we like do the little like little light trap here, just we can like attract some moths and stuff, and to see what insects are in the air, so then we can find. Yep, we got European corn borers. I'm glad this corn is here. It feels really convenient that we're being led by the nose right to it. And
also, there's a bunch of moths that they more eat clothes than fucking other shit. So it's weird that they're still in abundance here in the post fucking human world.
And that's when the heavy machine gun fire breaks out.
Yeah,
I think the crocodiles are there for the same reason that the lions are in Japan.
Oh, they escaped the zoo, is it?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, because while there's no crocodiles living in California, in modern times, apparently there's evidence that they lived there in prehistoric times. So if a crocodile was to escape into a new prehistory, then it would probably
just
be fine.
Yeah.
Well, I think like crocodiles and alligators have barely evolved since like when they were last present millions of years ago. They're actually one of the most like efficiently like
it still works.
Specified animals. This is pretty good. Lives a long time. It can kill like anything that gets in its way. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Spends most of its time immobile, could occasionally burst into speed.
It's got it all figured out.
Yeah.
What a life.
Yeah, machine gun fire bursts out. They have to like do a hasty fucking retreat because hey, who the fuck is shooting us with a machine gun? That's not even the kind of guns we have, which is a very basic revolver, I think. Yeah.
It's also got fucking like they don't see it. We got like no, it's got like armored exoskeletons you can pop out, and and also it won't get in the way of you like having a smoke inside there. It's like, well, that's pretty good. But why did they find out? Some kind. He's a Yank. He's speaking English.
Do you get the incredibly the panel here with the gun in an incredibly phallic position?
It's too obscure by the darkness. I don't believe they've gone full on with that just yet.
They haven't done they haven't done a full reveal of our beautiful
okay,
soldier
so
yet.
That might be in next, because that's like 2 panels before the reveal of his
the next
face.
episode's called Dr. X, so we're not fucking wasting time on like getting to know the Americans that are
Dr.
around.
X.
Yeah.
What's the bad guy from Streets of Rage doing here? Is that Mr. X? Who's Mr. X?
Good. Well, I'll be hot back on next week. I did see Trillion Game episode 15 with you, and episode 16. I love money.
You would say, oh, like I said, that's such an annoying voice, but the person who espouses this belief, that's a very annoying voice himself.
Yeah. Yes, episode 15 is the date with Kirihime.
Very long date where she's just not saying anything. Just having a good time.
It's like, wait a minute, what is this like a plan? Is she testing me? And it's like, no, dude, I think she's having a good time. Like, I think she's like, oh, brilliant. Let's go to the shootout range. It's like, wow, you want me a teddy bear? And he's like, now that I have it, I don't fucking want it. It's like, okay, that's her being a rich girl. That's okay. That tracks.
We get a bunch of prep though beforehand, where he buys 4 new outfits, none of which suit him. He rings up his bully from the house club for advice.
See, there's one guy he'd love to ring for advice about going out with women, but we're still on the outs with his bestie right now. So it's like, I'll ring up the guy who, like, he does know about impressing women. That's literally his fucking job. It's like, why should I give you any fucking advice? It's like, come on. And he gives him the advice, but he says that's just what fucking Haru would have said anyway. So, like Haru literally told him that, I think, or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And then he asks the AI for some advice on what flowers to pick out, and just gets ring because she's still filling in when the AI can't answer a question.
Don't buy flowers, just be yourself. Wow, what an intuitive AI! We've designed that pretty well for like something just junked and shipped out.
The explanation's a bit more detailed than that. It's like on a first date, don't bring flowers, particularly if you're not driving, because you'll have to carry them and
you're going to a theme park, so you're going to be carrying those around to the roller coaster. That sucks. And it's like, you think the AI would convince me to fucking buy something, but we did a good job on that, I guess.
And she figures, I think this is Gaku. So should I give him this advice? And why am I hesitating on giving him this advice?
Yeah.
I'm going to give this advice. I should support him regardless. But yeah, she's having like, oh, hang on a second. Have I developed feelings for that nerd?
Because she does know that he looks hot if he doesn't shave for a day and like stops styling his hair like a fucking nerd.
But if I just keep him that way, he'd be perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, Kirihime has shown up dressed as Daphne from Scooby-Doo, or at least the same colours.
She's getting followed by like a hulking goon as well.
He's the best bit. Her henchman just looking jealous and angry all the way through.
Like basically looking angry at like a couple of cars behind in the roller coaster, that kind of shit. Like just being a weird, like far behind you, threatening third wheel, I guess. Yeah. Yes,
and then once they go in the
Ferris wheel, it's just like, okay,
that's the word.
It's like, okay, but one, but as just romantic things go with ones, it's usually like cliche goes, wait till we're in the top car before you take a romantic confession. But it's like top car is like, okay, down to business. That was you who did that, wasn't it? Waiting all day to say this to you.
Yes, and he's like, what is the perfect answer for this? And it's just deny all knowledge, because that will save her from the embarrassment of having to admit that they were hacked. And he's like running through the advice he's been given previously. It's like, okay, I've stopped thinking about myself and think about her as if this is a real date. And she doesn't want to be embarrassed, so I'll answer in a way that won't embarrass her.
And it's just like, maybe they were just a fan of Dragon Mitsume, and they were just like, who made that game? And she's like,
there's a lot of weirdos out there
that I can answer. I will write it down here so you can see. but like I guess the guy who hacked it also wanted to know that. Oink, we're good. Okay.
Yes.
Like, and
Yeah,
that
I
way it's
feel
just
like
like you haven't publicly embarrassed me. You've asked me a reasonable fucking request. I'm fine with fucking giving that information under the pretenses that you're not embarrassing me. And it's like we're cool. Like,
and of course she sandwiches this in her constant thing of how she admires competent men.
Yeah.
And it's like she's fine leaking this document because from her point of view, they're eventually going to work for her anyway. So even
Yeah.
if they steal this guy from Dragon Bank, he'll be back with her.
I'll eventually
probably,
own your company and you
and of
in
course,
Dragon
from
Bank.
what we
So,
learned, about him in episode 16, she also will know all this other information about him, and it's probably best for him to go away, be polished by Haru and Gaku, and then return to her fixed.
yeah. This is all positive for her. And the other thing is, like, and it's the impression I do get of her. She was also just looking to go out on a date with a guy she
Yes.
likes and admires, because at the end of it, kind of her going like, "I'm not your type, right?" And he's like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, no, I get it, man. It's cool. I'm not personally insulted or anything." And like, she's really nice about it. It's like, "Oh yeah, you're into like, I don't know, nerdy neurotic women or something." Just a wild guess from my point of view.
Yes.
I
Yes,
know.
because the face she gets when he gives her reply in the Ferris wheel is like, it is more than just like, oh, you've answered. It's not like, oh, you've answered the correct question in an interview. It's like, this I like this answer.
Yeah.
I now like you more as a person because you've answered it in this way.
Just call me back. We haven't shaved for a couple of days.
Yes, she hasn't seen him at his worst.
Oh, totally sure. Okay, that is it for them fun. Haru, never heard of him.
And then episode 16 is let's go and poach this guy from Dragon Bank. Oh my goodness, he's a greedy
Very
maniac.
unsubtly. Oh boy, I can't believe he came all the way down offices to poach me. What's that? 18 million yen. Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, the way they were kind of like, should we really be going to the Dragon Bank canteen to poach him? It's like, that's where he fucking invited us. Like, it's weird because he texts like an old man. It's like, oh, here's the file photo of him. It's him wearing like one of those fake top knot wig things at a party. And it's just like, what the fuck is with this guy? It's like, he's a weirdo. He's like, hey, don't talk about the numbers, but he's loudly announcing to the entire fucking canteen of all the. It's like, yeah, you're looking to poach me, huh? Pretty brazen. Yeah.
Yes, his problem is he likes to party a lot,
Yeah.
and he spent a load of the company's money partying a lot, and so therefore
his initial problem
hands
was
are tied.
he made a hit game. He was really fucking good, and the CEO gets all the fucking credit. It's like, how come I don't get the credit? What if I embezzle a little money, a little partying money, just as a celebration to me? And Dragon Bank were kind of like, we do want to keep him on the payroll, but we're just gonna shut it down that this guy embezzled a bit of money just to have a little party. It's just like it's not fucking much money to Dragon Bank, so we're not going to increase his pay, and he doesn't get credit for it. And it's just like, so he's stuck at the company with a decent wage, but he's never going to rise anywhere above that. Basically, yeah. No freedom in creation or like progressing in his career, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get this is kind of where Sakura starts to come more into the story. He's like, well, it's bad that he embezzled from them. I can see why he'd be tempted to do this.
Yeah.
Because lots of people make video games and don't get the credit they deserve or the money they deserve for making video games.
It's a tough racket.
Yeah.
But together, everyone said, "Oh, I played like your old mobile game." It was like, it didn't go anywhere. But I just loved the design of the thing. It was good. It was like the same sensation as like popping bubble wrap. I was saying, that's what we're going for. Is yeah, that's it. But
and it's halfway between him and the main game designer. It's like, I fucking hate this guy. He doesn't have the heart of the game. He doesn't fucking give a shit about games. He's only about the money. And the guy's like, but you understand that from a design perspective, that's a good thing. And it's like, yeah, and I understand that getting people fucking addicted to a gacha means you've got a good fucking game on your hands. I'm going to get them addicted to make money, but that will also mean it's a good game. And your man's like, shit, we need this fucking guy.
Yes, because originally he rushes out to try and appeal to his heart.
Yeah.
But once he sees that he made the
survival
game,
yeah,
that he's like, oh yeah, no, I love this game because I saw that you could make loads of money out of it because that's the power of gacha. We just add gacha to this. We could make loads of money out of it. That's what tempts him in. But he's still under the impression that they're going to offer him 18 million yen a month.
That's it. Yeah, it's not a year. It's just like, we could maybe afford that a year because we'll make it back. And it's like, no, I want that a month. He's like, we literally don't have that money. But he's like,
it's just a point. They're both like Sakura going. I see Hibijima. He's like, he's seen sense. Like, he's going to be just for love of the game, literally. Okay, I can buy. Let's show. I've brought all of his eyes. It's like, idiots. As soon as I show how useful I am, they're going to have to pay me all that money. I'll just keep working until they do.
Yeah.
So they polish it up, and then he's like, and now we can talk my contract. And they go, oh, you were still under the impression that we're going to be able to afford that. No, we can't. We'll pay you a day rate. But
we'll pay you for the work you've done, obviously.
And he's like, no, don't worry. No, it's my own fault for being under the misapprehension about this. And so he's about to leave, and he's like tempted. He's like, I could go back and have fun again.
That was a lot of fun making the game and like getting at loggerheads with each other, but then working through it to make actually a better fucking product, which would make me a lot of money. It's just like, yeah.
Behind him, it's you. And then the following day, it's just like, oh man, see me not Hibijima-san, but I guess about fun saying, what's that? A knock at the office door.
Well, they also got a text saying, they also got a text from him saying it's just like he's got
another job
coached by another company, their parent company.
I know. I work for fucking Grand Promotions now, but they've just like kindly agreed to just like let me like come over here and work for a bit under their aegis. It's just like, oh. That Haru he's like watching out for us after all. Maybe he does
has been paying attention to what you've been doing over here, and as this guy is wanting to do, make a lot of money with a mobile game. And Haru, in his plan, was like, we will conquer the entertainment business, social media games, and it's just like fucking this. This is still in his plan. This is still in his purview. He's still on board with this. He's still a greedy cunt, but
yes,
the one we weird. Like.
There's definitely now separation between the two worlds. There's the Trillion Game office where they're developing video game, and then there's the God Promotion office with Hedowin and Mizuki and Haru. So I'm curious as to see how long that stays, that split.
When they'll get tied back together.
It's dividing up the party. I feel like with the end of this month, now we'll see what Haru's been up to all this time while they've been working on the game.
Yes, and this is a very Inagaki episode in that we get a lecture on how gacha games work. So he's clearly gone and done his research, and we get that research returned to us in the form of a lecture and some spreadsheets. Which is good. It is definitely interesting. They talk about like how the retention times and like how long you've got to capture a player's interest.
Yeah, what is it like? If you've retained 10% of the people who actually downloaded the game in the first place, you're fucking winning. That's great.
It's this whole thing. No, you won't get everybody all the time, but you will get some of the people some of the time. So you can get just them. You can and keep them there. Some of them.
If you keep that solid base, you might be trickling in some people out. But as long as you can keep that solid number, you're golden. Like you're a success.
Yeah, and he's talking about the thing he liked about the game is the UX of it. It's the feel you get of interacting.
The popping the things, the collecting the items, the making new stuff. If only we could put beautiful boys and girls rather than these realistic people barely surviving on a desert island kind of thing. It's just like no, it's a survival game. It's like, but beautiful boys and girls are what the punters are after.
But no, his argument is the feel is it's because the designer's based it on popping bubble wrap. It's a pop feel, so therefore the look of it should reflect the feel.
A pop aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so therefore that's
It's pop right now. Work. 60 dames and lots of them.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to put their favorite anime characters on an island?
Imagine the crossover potential.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they'll be able to put characters being run by God Promotion.
Have you heard of this team, Dr. Stone, the artist in that comic? Draw some sexy people. We gotta get those in this game.
I figured that might be one of the ways it crosses over, like where when the game comes out and it ties more into the promotion thing, like these things will be more linked, and that'll bring Haru and Gaku back together. Like, yeah.
Then we got from bureaucrat to villainess. Dad's been reincarnated. Episode 2, Dad becomes a sorcerer. And episode 3, Dad makes a pun. I like how these aren't just like one long story each episode. So the first one is how magic works in this world.
It's a genuinely good magic system. Like I'm shocked. That's really fucking smart. We're just like, hey, how come we can't just write down fire? And it's like, well, if everyone can read it, then they'll get their own ideas of what that word means, like to fire someone from a job, and that'll interfere with your spell. So it needs to be a language that most people besides sorcerers don't understand. This is the word fire for explicitly summoning fire. I was like, can we just make up our own coda? I was like, good question. It needs to be an ancient language, so it's got this long history of built-up meaning behind it. And so the dad is obviously like, I'm just going to fucking write it in kanji. It's just like, oh, that fucking
Fire,
works.
pretty
Cool.
good.
I'm the only person who can read that, and it's an old language.
That's it.
And I was just like, yeah, that's a good magic. I still don't know what the eggs are about, but I like the magic system. I was like, that's sensible. If that makes sense.
This is why I always does the morning crossword. He gets all these synonyms.
Yeah.
And then the second half is from the point of view of the maid, who seems to be the only person who's noticed that there's something severely wrong.
Everyone's noticed, but the maid is kind of like, is she fucking with me right now? Like, is she gonna sell me into maid slavery or something? Like, what's the fucking deal? Like, everyone else is like, wow, she's really stopped being a little shit, hasn't she? Oh yeah, she's really becoming a right proper lady. And the maid is assuming that it's like it's a test that I can only fail because I'm the clumsiest maid in the house.
But instead, he's very fatherly to her, using his father skills. Gets her to eat some biscuits. That settles things, and then they go and repair the kettle that she dropped. And they go and see a dwarf. Yeah, and this was the point where I was like, "Oh, this is him in a coma and him filling in the details of just what he's seen the daughter play, and the bits he doesn't."
It's a magic world. That's probably a fucking dwarf because he's like, yes, dwarves, the typical fantasy craftsman, that kind of thing.
Yes, and then he comments like, "This is a very unusual, really detailed scene for it to be in this game. That there'd be a very long scene."
The main character wouldn't ever need to go to the dwarf's hut that lives on the lady's manor in the woods. Like,
but she's been coming here since you were a lass to see him at work. Because the young mistress always loved seeing craftspeople at work.
But then she started learning her proper lady manners, and she kind of fell out of it, and it's like that wasn't for her anymore. So, and when she's like, "Oh, can I come back again?" or when he's like, "Can I come back again?" to the dwarf's like, "You're always welcome here." And I do like the slight smile of him. It's like, she's turning into
it's your land.
Yeah.
Yes. The dad going like, "The dwarves are the number one crafters in fantasy stories. I think I'm getting a chance to see one at work."
What a privilege! Yeah,
for that to be like his fantasy. Because in this episode, we get like a different introduction each episode, which I love. This one is like going into his work day before he got reincarnated, leading up to the point at which he got hit by a truck.
Like he accidentally lets his fucking inner otaku out, where they're just like, "Hey, we got this local author who does this very popular manga, and we're going to use him in this promotional posters." And he's like, "That character should be smiling. That's a very fucking serious character. Let me tell you the fucking lore about this shit." And he's like, "Whoa, he's done his research."
You don't want to disrespect the author. It's going to land us in hot water. You know, you got to go about this carefully. It's a very delicate process. You got respect the material.
They're all impressed that he's so knowledgeable, whereas he's a fucking nerd. Is the actual truth of the matter?
Well, him and his nerd daughter have a secret G Gundam handshake that they do every morning,
and bonding over buying your merchandise of your favorite.
Not buying merchandise, using merchandise. Yes. That's the important thing. You don't just fucking keep it to NRFB. Actually, also bought it NRFB. But
have a second one you keep in box.
But he's like, yeah, using the merch. That means you're a real fucking fan. Does the cool guy handshake? Is kind of interrupted by the wife, who I assume is as big a nerd from what he's been saying.
The dwarves doing this often. It's just like like father, like daughter. It's just like leaning casually in the window. For him.
And then in the third one, what's the first part? Is the introduction is him talking about
all the lovely boys and how difficult it must be because they're different personalities. So some of their routes to romance them are more difficult than others.
Yeah, it's kind of explaining that the main one is the prince that you want to get because obviously, he's going to be the king. So
that's it. Yeah, and then it's the pun saying one in the second half. My main note on this one is that is the villainess always looking away or having her eyes closed when she does like a triumphant pose, and she never notices that the love sparkles are appearing.
I saw someone like in this episode, the third one, he does so fucking good that they level up like 3 times. Like it's like, whoa!
That little like social link up sound effect is going to be like really we fucking the timing of that we brilliant, because there was one when like doing this the student council, he's a lovely boy's doing it, and she kind of impresses them what he does like with his like his flattering ways, and it's like it would all go like bling 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 bling, and then the quiet guy who's reading his book, he's just smiling away. It's like 10 seconds, he just goes bling. It's like, yeah, you got him too.
But yeah, when he did the multiple level ups to them, it kind of cuts back to the villainess, and the eyes closed, like, oh, don't talk to me about that. It's just like, yeah, he is not looking, or he's walking away, or it's just like, I assume it's a thing he can see because he is clearly playing this game, so he should be able to see that interface of relationship.
But it feels like in his mind, notice Anna Doll, she's the main character of this video game storyline. So I just want to set her up with somebody nice. Who would be the nicest boy to go? And then in the course of doing that is just romancing like all of the boys and Anna.
And I think while she's thinking that, we've got Anna walking beside her, we're making the biggest goo eyes at him. It's like
one of my favorite bits in that, where she's like, the main difference in these guys is they've all got wild fucking haircuts, like like an anime. They all got different colors and shit. So it's like one of the biggest like initial draws is like, what do you think of their haircuts? Because that's the main difference between these very pretty boys. And
I wouldn't know about that, unfortunately.
And he's like, yeah, like no, he's saying that to himself. It's just like, I can't fucking do the hair thing myself. I was like, so he's kind of turned to it as like, who do you think is the nicest hair in the student? No. I'll be more general. Who do you think? What's your favorite kind of haircut? What do you think about people with like long golden locks? And in his head, thinking like the prince. And she's obviously seeing her flowing fucking tresses, and just like, oh, I think they're great. And she's like, all right, the vice president, because he's got long hair. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And it's just like bling bling bling. It's just like, you're not paying attention, man. You're winning the game, but you think you're helping someone else win the game.
The other thing this episode, beyond the dad jokes of it being in his coma, is the beetle on the guy's back, and it being like the rarest beetle you've possibly found when you were a child looking for beetles. This is like the be-all and end-all of fighting beetles.
Again, those two guys are using magic to enhance their attacks, and he's like, wow, this is really high production for an Otome game. Again, the thing of it's just like, you're adding your own shit to this, man. You're adding what you're into this world. That you'd be like, that's a well choreographed fight. It's like, there'd be no way that would be in a visual novel type game that you're in. But so when the beetle lands on the boat, like, oh, get it off me, I don't like bugs. And the other guy's like, no, I don't like bugs either. And he's like, yeah, I guess it's like a Japanese thing to collect bugs, so I need to come up with an excuse to not squish this bug. It's like, everything has a place in nature, and I'll use my magical thing to send it back home to the forest. And it's like everything in balance. And our hot-headed youth going like, oh fuck, I'm falling for that.
That's so profound.
I never considered not killing things, being a military child. That's beautiful. She has opened my heart up. Level up. Yeah.
What's Nerdlinger's deal here? Why is he going after Anna so much? Classic tsundere. This is easiest because tsunderes are actually total pushovers when you get down to it. Here, watch this, I'll show you. Just proceeds to just like, well, it looks like Anna got like her sums, her typings finished for the school kind of budget ahead of you, didn't they? What's his name? Lambert. So it's like, oh, you use it. You use the abacus I brought. I taught her how to use. It's like, I could do that too. Well, let Anna show you then, unless you don't want her to. No, well, that's fine. You can show me. I can do it better than her.
It's a thing of making it the challenge. Like, it's not fair. You taught her how to use the abacus, and he's like, well, she could show you if you like. And it's like, and he's like, brilliant. I've got them fucking working for each other.
Easy peasy.
And all you've done is make the main heroine and that guy fall in love with you more, because they're really impressed with how nice and kind and helpful you are.
I better give her some options though. So we have the playful mischievous one.
The second
kind of
prince,
hardest one because you're not quite sure where he is. So it's just like, hey, it'd be really funny if you went over to Lambert and Anna and they showed you as well. Just make a little bit of fun shit. I gotcha. Let's do that. And so it's like, yes, it's just going over there, doing a good job setting her up with like a prospective boyfriend. Anyways, back to these sums. So
Yeah,
no idea like what kind of damage you're causing.
Yeah.
And then the younger prince starts playing the abacus as a musical instrument at the end.
And like a dad, he's like, it's not a fucking toy.
Yes.
that is a tool
Don't-
for calculation.
Don't act like you're in some sort of show or comedy skit. And like everyone's like,
Showa. Every now and again you say a
civilization.
weird word that we're not fucking familiar with. Tsundere. No, I don't know that.
this is a fantastic show. It's it's so. I know the author is the same age as the main character, so I think that has a big part of it.
Yeah. I
Particularly
think
the bit where he's talking about walking up steps and swinging the legs and the arms in the same direction each side to reduce stress on the body, and I was like, okay, that's written by somebody who's the same age.
Who knows that that's the case? Yeah.
Divide by 9 whenever you find an indiscrepancy in your spreadsheet.
And the thing, it was just like, I randomly came across that in a book, and it's like, no, but the prince being like, I know you were bad at your sums, and you've worked really hard, but you're not going to take credit for it. And so the kind of thing of like, I need to bring up Anna in his estimation. It's like, oh yeah, you're increasing her value to the kingdom, but like you're literally his fiance. That's who you're playing, and your value is shooting the fuck up because you're not even taking credit for getting better at maths by working really hard.
And years of accounting experience.
I thought the vice president was going to be like the stoic, quiet guy for ages, but the reason he's a stoic, quiet guy is because he loves dad puns. And you know who loves dad puns? Dad. He fucking loves dad puns. So, yeah, shooting up.
You put 2 of them in the same sentence. That's just a multi-layer pun. It's beyond me.
Oh dear. Right, good. I'm coming to the end of the voice. Dragon Ball Daima episode 14 Taboo and Dragon Ball Daima episode 15 Third Eye. I watched episode 15 in the hope that it would catch me up on episode 14. It didn't really. I was a little confused why they were fighting in a city.
But that's because in the previous thing it was just like, oh, they've turned off warp time and the fish lets us go from place to place. Like as you can see, in like the big crater tunnel that leads to the first demon world, it's like magical sigil right there, and no way to break through it except for like Neva, who was like, oh, I made those all the time. Here, we get it out of the way for you. He's really
before Goku decides to poke it with his big stick. And they're like, don't fucking, it'll electrocute you. And it's just like, yeah, so he gets electrocuted and he's about to fall into it again, but they switch it off so he can just fall straight. Like, it's just, I guess Warp Sama is to get through the force fields, because you could just, it's a hole. You can just go down through the hole to get to the next demon world. They're stacked on top of each other for convenience.
Yeah, so, okay, well, we're going through here now. Goma, who's just been worried that, like, okay, they can't break through, but if they do, we have all the boys here. We even have, like, our stand-in Genyu force here. Like, no, they're the special forces of the gendarmes.
Brian, watch that episode for the special gendarmes. They're fucking great. They're a bunch of goobers. When we initially
force again, yeah.
When we initially meet them, it's just like, where are they? They're in the lobby, and they're all there eating like fucking potatoes and snacks and fucking just stuff in their faces. They're like, oh fuck, quick, do the big fucking thing where we show off how cool we are, and they show off their cool poses, and they all shoot their fucking guns, and they shoot up the lobby. And it's just like, cool, that you're all.
I'm bidding you for that.
And they're all like, fucking class. We got to go down and get more of these fucking crisps in the fucking. This must be first Demon World snacks. They are premium fucking crisps. I love the Mage taste ones. Oh, I love the Mage taste ones. We'll get more at the shop. And who's at the shop but the two young fellas?
Majin Ku and Majin Du. So it's like.
They're going to the shops on the regular rounds, buying chocolate bars, and the lads. I initially thought they were going to be like bullies, like stealing candy from a baby. Like, what are you kids buying? Chocolate bars? Don't worry, we'll buy you a big bag of chocolate bars. They're actually sound out, but then they don't have enough money to buy them more than one sweet each, basically. Yeah, a bar each.
Sorry, I get your hopes
up. They're still good. They're nice, dumb boys, and I can't wait for them to get immediately kicked in the ass by all our fucking main characters. I'm just like, holy shit, we're way out of our depth. It's like they're clearly going to be out of their depth.
Descending from the sky right now. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
these
so
guys are a little beerusy, aren't they?
Beerus, it
Beerusy
has
and
pointy
also
ears, and therefore is from the demon world. That's how it works. All dogs have pointy ears. They're from the demon world. Everything you've seen so far in Dragon Ball with pointy ears is from the demon world.
I think as well. I remember in Super it was Inner Universe Tournament. They were Universe 11 guys, whichever one Jiren was from. And they had like
They didn't have they had the rabbit
the
guy.
Super Rangers. Yeah, they had that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Oh,
purple
like him.
pointy ears, looking very gendarme. Yeah. But yeah, the regular gendarmes do start like, holy shit, they are coming out of the sky, blast them.
It's
So just a
yeah,
lot of
like
shots of lads being shot at by the cops.
you got Super Saiyan dudes and that there, but it's like a hail of like magical gunfire. It does actually hurt a lot when there's loads of them. So it's like, oh yeah, but they're not just going to fucking key blast their way out. It's well, they'll do that, but it won't just like do. Oh, I'm just going to like Kamehameha them all, and they're all gone. It's like no, there's lots of them. They bring out tanks at one point. But didn't know they had those. And also you got there's I guess the taser gun is just like kind of just kind of zaps you and immobilizes
Yeah,
you.
that bit felt like it's felt like the Maser tanks from Godzilla. It's like all of a sudden our heroes are being treated like tiny Godzillas.
City destroying threat is
correct
coming.
way to fucking treat them, I think. But also, I figure it's from like Toriyama having recently gone back and done Sandled, and it's like I actually really like tanks. Tanks are really cool. Now that I think about it again,
That's true. He did like drawing weird little vehicles, and this is a thing full of weird little vehicles, which often get destroyed within an episode.
Yeah.
Hibis gets swindled out of his belt.
Yes, by a mysterious woman who I assume is your boy in disguise. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the Gasu in disguise, because your man's like, go get the belt off him, but don't let anyone know that it's an important fucking belt, because he's like, zoom, enhance. That's the fucking magical third eye that the prior kings had, and Dabura was like, he stole it off the king.
It's a very One Ring kind of way this gets lost on saying, okay, after that daring heist, I have this ring, this eye in my possession right now. I will just give it. Oh no, he gets like the thief gets in clubbed by an orc and then just rolls off a cliff.
I assume he's not giving that to Goma based on the fact that the next episode's called Degasu, and he suddenly looks a lot more competent in the preview.
It's the constant thing if he's been ordered around by this little shit going like, fucking you turn off Warp Sama, you fucking go get the belt, you put yourself in danger and possibly like in illegal fucking shit, and it's like, I'm just gonna sit back and watch it on telly.
Shift
like, I'm not gonna do
into a hot lady to try and seduce this idiot, give his belt to you.
And he's very disappointed that he doesn't want a kiss. And instead wants a stupid hat instead.
What? This is the sexiest lady I can manage. What the fuck? It's like, I'll trade it for your hat. It's like, my dumb hat? Part of my costume?
That was easy.
I do wonder if they're in cahoots with their sister based on how the sister's behaving. Where we briefly say here this episode saying things will soon be all be in place.
Yeah. But we already know she's a guy on the inside on our main team, so you know.
Yes.
So I assume the two guys just eating chocolate on the couch. They say, "We do fun. You just wait until something happens."
Yes.
Chocolate,
so I assume
for all.
So the plan is for him to leg it with the Dragon Balls to her, and for Degasu to leg it with the eye and the baby to her as well, because he's got the baby.
Oh, that's in the preview as well. That shows that Degasu's a real baddie. He pulls a gun on baby Dende. It's just like, come on, man. He's a literal baby right now. Leave him alone.
So it will be fun if they have to team with a stupid little demon king, which they may well have to at this point. But yeah, the end of this episode though is that Dad and his crew show up.
I love the fact they show up triumphantly, and it's just like, oh my god, they're all dead. Oh my god, they're fine.
The plane immediately explodes. It's just like, oh damn, well that was really heroic what they did, but now they're all dead.
No, they're not. They are also cool. They do not have key powers, but one guy has a bag of grenades, and a bunch of them have guns, and I'm just like, yeah, all these guys are right.
And one's got a huge sword.
She's just been like, I've been in the intro now, like, you know, for the last half a year. I'm just want to get out there and chop some people up. Let me at them.
Yeah.
And more pointedly, none of them have got the neck shackles on anymore, because we know how to
Yep.
remove them. You just have to do the simple magic spell.
Well, it would be a bad idea to attack the police at the biggest police station of the 3 fucking worlds if you had your shock collar on. You know, it's just like,
Yes.
yeah.
Is that where they leave it?
It is like that. It is again. They will give you at least one big action scene per episode. This is just like an extended, just like again, city destroying firefight. You know, just everything getting wrecked up.
Yes.
Like it's Dragon Ball, things get wrecked up. Like like again, we've messed around with the scale. Like it's getting really blown up, but it's not like we're just going to settle this with one Kamehameha and it's done. But instead, nope, you're going to have to kind of think. You got to get out there with the extending pole, start smashing some shit up.
Yeah.
Get down in the dirt with these guys. They got numbers, they got guns, but you've got your fun ability in that. So,
and constantly having to carefully position Bulma in positions where she's not going to get killed.
It feels kind of One Piece-y,
again, Vegeta
actually.
being the good husband, where he's just like, I'm carrying my wife, and it's just like, damn, they're shooting at me. It's just like, not that he'll get shot. It's just that his wife might get shot. Is a bad fucking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like kind of One Piece in a way, because it's just like we're kind of going
with the different scales,
wave
of
after
well,
wave of wounds. We're just like blowing them away. They're sending out bigger stuff at us. We're trying to bring down a government here. It's all powerful, of course.
And that's it for this week. There was one other thing I watched, but I might talk about that next week when I've caught up, which was the machine creator Wataru.
Okay.
Yes, another isekai. Albeit one based on one from 1988. Say 88 was that machine, or was it 87? Machine Wataru.
It was doing it before they were crap.
Yeah, 88. Yeah, this time it's aggressively aimed at Gen Alpha. I was like, am I too old to watch this? And then some of the jokes, I was like, no, I'm fine, because they put a character in who represents me, a character called Offline, who doesn't understand any of the internet talk.
Man, that's
good. Luddite.
Yeah, it's just so aggressively aimed at current 8-year-olds that it is quite amazing on that front. Is a bit of a culture shock for an old man like me.
Our time has passed.
Get over it, old man.
I had a good run.
We need to put somebody in there, to make you feel included. That's
true.
Yeah.
And the villain in the first episode is an old man who is an old man streamer who has enslaved a race, an entire village, to click like on his video. He just has them on I guess I'm talking about this week. He has them on a conveyor belt, and they go past, and they have to press this like button.
I feel like that's the way to update Mojo and Marvel. Like, just make him like.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's not that different from fucking TV. Like,
you thought you was buying a bot farm, but you were buying a human farm. Those are human likes in the beginning.
They're writing him as a very serious villain at the moment in NYX, and not some sort of fun satire.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird.
I think it should be a genuine threat that is a satire. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah, maybe it's supposed to, NYX is a weirdly toned. It's like they're the same writers Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's a good comic and yet everybody seems out of character, which is a bit weird. But still not the worst one of those X-Men comics. Weirdly, I would say the worst one is Uncanny X-Men, which I was not expecting it to be, but it's got makes some really boneheaded choices, and it can't keep up with its own continuity. But we're not an X-Men podcast. We're an anime podcast. And we're back next week with more anime. For now. Yeah, they may make another X-Men. Who knows? One day.
Oh, any day now.
That's true. Yes, it's true. Unfortunately, it'll probably be Polygon pictures.
Well, we've said it out loud now, and if we have them saying out loud, because we get to get laid of heaven into being. So look under your pillow in the morning as well. Also.
Rightio. Cheerio.
Bon voyage.